The MSI Vigor GK50 is a low-profile keyboard for high-profile low riders. Hey everyone, Mukul here. So MSI sent this keyboard to me recently and I feel quite grateful to them. But as always, this review is going to be honest because me no likey lies. In the box you get a keyboard which doesn't interest me at all, but I will be mostly focused on in this keycap puller that comes with this keyboard. It can also help you with your gardening and also help you propose the girl or guy you doubt will most likely reject you. Because really, what sort of a proposal ring is this which doesn't even come in its own box? There are two extra keycaps that are convex in nature as concavity isn't in their nature. And there's a manual which is pretty handy to get used to all sorts of many shortcuts this keyboard provides. Well, the first impression of this keyboard was definitely its weight. Well, I'm pretty sure you already had no plans to build any sort of body muscles with it, but it felt extremely lightweight. I guess that's because of the fact that the whole base is plastic and on the top there's this brushed metal plate which is also quite thin. The overall design is definitely edgy and the corners are quite sharp, so if you are ever intruded by robbers, this light and sharp keyboard can be extremely helpful. The wire is decently long and comes with this attached cable hugger on it, which is helpful for hugging stuff around it, especially cables. The USB dongle design is edgy like the keyboard and the cable is braided because why not? The extendable foot stands are vertical with a good gap next to them, which makes it easier to access them and open them without turning the whole keyboard upside down. There are 5 rubber feet on the bottom too, which are enough to give grips on things that have bottoms. The num caps and Windows lock key indicators are embedded under this translucent sheet which looks quite good. And they also changed their colors too with the entire keyboard, so it's just an add-on blessing. The font selection on the keys is gamery of course, as the keyboard is being marketed to gamers heavily. But I think they did get a bit too creative when they put an almost one looking symbol over the shift key. But to be honest, this is just me nitpicking. I hardly look at my keyboard's keys when I work with it because I prefer it looking at me. There is absolutely no gap between the function keys and the numerical keys, so you might mishit some of these keys instead of the numerical keys as I was doing throughout the usage of this keyboard. The switches on this keyboard are Kailh low profile switches and my first feel impressions with the keyboard were pretty awesome for the first few hours. First of all, if you are someone who has ever listened to the sweet sound of Blue Cherry MX keys or any similar alternatives, then the sound from these keys will be actually very soothing. I mean, these keys definitely make a clicky sound, but they aren't as harsh or anywhere close to the blue switches which I have been using on my primary keyboard, and because of which I have been getting some hate mails from my neighbors. The actuation force felt pretty light and I think you would love typing on these two alongside with gaming of course. If you generally like typing on laptops and just want to feel at home when you hop onto your desktop, then the low profile keys can definitely help you feel that way. I mean, even for someone like me who hasn't ever used low profile keys for this long, I was typing well enough on this keyboard like how I do on my primary keyboard. I mean, the keyboard definitely feels low profile, but because it's nothing but a keyboard in the end, it didn't feel totally alien to me. One slight issue which I had was with the posture though. I mean, it's quite personal as every human has different hands, I suppose. The issue was that if I don't open the foot stand, the keys feel as if they are laying real low, which actually is the character of the keyboard. But when I do open them, then the keyboard side extends a bit too much for my taste. Well, when it's raised, I could feel my palms getting a little more than usual pressure on them as they were now more inclined than how they typically are. I would have preferred a position right in the middle of this, but hey, you can't get everything from something, right? The keyboard worked great for my typical gaming sessions as there were hardly any mishits. The keyboard also supports locking up your window key so that you don't let the start menu mess up your game. There are individual LED lights over each key which are north facing, unlike your south facing light. The individual keys can also have individual colors, so you can set the colors on them individually for you and your game's individual needs. The lights are pretty bright, so the keys turn out to be bright too. So yeah, overall, all the RGB effects on the keyboard look pretty slick and I dig the view for sure. But because of the placement of these LED lights, anything ahead of the keyboard would have a strong reflection of them. And as the keys are quite bright, it can get a bit distracting if you also have a monitor in front of the keyboard like us normal humans. So yeah, this can be a bit of annoyance. I mean, we do avoid getting backlight bleeding on our monitor screens, but the keyboard here kinda just enables the on your face light bleeding. But this will only happen at a certain angle, so not all of you might face this. And because of the brushed metal sheet over the keyboard, there will always be a definite diffuse reflection of the lights on it too. But the host of lighting effects and the flexibility with which MSI lets you customize the keys on the keyboard is surely commendable. You can of course change the lighting pattern, brightness and the overall color of each pattern on the keyboard itself, but to exploit the customization more, you would need to take the help of the software. And talking about the software, as soon as I ran the MSI's Dragon Center, well, I was greeted with these long ass terms and conditions which I gave my 2 days and I still couldn't read them. So I gave up and accepted those, and I hopped on to the next page and was again greeted with more terms and more conditions. Yikes, but okay, I accepted them anyway, but I just hope that I still hold the ownership rights to my PC though. To be honest, the software felt quite heavy, but it can do a variety of things for you. For example, you can set any sort of light pattern you'd want to hear, also with its set speed. And surprisingly, there was also this voice command option which lets you change the lighting of the keyboard by voice commands. But sadly, I couldn't activate them easily, and then I just didn't feel like putting in more energy for this. So if you're someone who has tried this, let me know how it works. Most of the animating lighting modes have always been distracting to me, and most of the keyboards I have tested or used. So the calm breathing or the fixed lighting modes are something which I generally prefer. You can also set 3 different profiles for the kind of lighting you prefer for the different kind of use cases you might use the keyboard for. The ambient link has this game sync option which when you turn on will make the keyboard's light behave differently as per a game. So for example, in Division 2 it will show a different light layout for different modes you will use in the game. Like for example, M for map will immediately turn on this light with breathing on it, and same for the I for inventory which will turn on a different light pattern on the keyboard. Although what's not quite correct here is that the F key, which is lit, has no function in the game. So I believe this one lighting preset here is common and doesn't vary from game to game. And you can't really blame MSI here, as developing efficient software has been one of the toughest things to do for the world anyway. You can also set macros and turn off other stuff with the software too. I mean, this feature-rich software can also let you sync the lighting of the keyboard with the other smart devices in your room. I mean, of course, if you were smart enough to buy those smart devices in the first place. And as stated earlier, setting individual keys light is something which is very well deserving for the price this keyboard comes at. Now, if you're going to use this keyboard as your main keyboard, it actually has nothing wrong going for it. And because I have this slight luxury of having more than one keyboard around me, I did start missing the standard Cherry MX keys height. But no matter what I do or say, the beautiful low clicky sounds of the GK50 was music to my ears after coming from my Cherry MX Blues. The keyboard is quite aptly priced for the US market at $70 US, but here in India they currently sell for 7,500 rupees. Which you can't really blame MSI for, because really they were not the ones who made taxes and the customs and everything we pay on our computer peripherals here. I mean, if the keyboard had 2 years of warranty and if it failed within the 2 years warranty period, and if you would have been able to get it repaired or replaced, then yeah, that would have definitely made you grab more value from the keyboard for the price it is coming at. So if you like my efforts on the video, then do leave a like with the sub and the bell. And I will also make sure to put its Amazon links in the description below. You can also hop on to Discord server for more chit chats over similar topics. Stay safe, humans. That's all for today. MewBot out.